I still remember the night she looked me straight in the eye and called me weird. It wasn't the word itself that hurt so much as what it revealed. Somewhere along the way, her respect for me had faded. I'm Adam, 35, an engineer, the sort of person who spends his days finding and fixing small problems before they become disasters. For most of our marriage, Emily and I felt steady. We weren't flawless, but we had routines that fit. Dinners at 7, Friday movie nights, slow Sunday mornings with coffee and crosswords. It felt safe. Then the small changes began. She started taking her phone into the bathroom, laughing softly at night when she thought I was asleep, flipping the screen down the moment I entered the room. At first I dismissed it as harmless, group chats, silly short videos. But then she began wearing a full face of makeup to run errands, buying new clothes, and suddenly spending more time at the gym than usual. One evening I asked her plainly if something was going on. She shrugged and said, "Don't be weird, Adam. Not everything is about you." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to be reassured. Instead, there was a hollow feeling in my gut that wouldn't go away. So I watched, not to start a fight, not to shout. I simply observed. A week later, a message preview on her phone while she showered answered my suspicion. "Can't wait to see you again." The contact was saved under Kelly Work, but the 3 heart emojis didn't look like the kind of messages colleagues usually send. I didn't explode or accuse. I began to collect facts. Over the next days, I backed up her photos, copied text threads, checked dates of her girls' nights against credit card records. I compared times and locations. I wasn't just fishing for evidence. I was assembling an unambiguous record so that nobody could later pretend they didn't know. Emily tightened her habits. Face-down phones, deleted messages, passcodes. But she didn't reckon with someone who makes a living designing systems that catch tiny faults before they grow. I set up a second phone and quietly mirrored her iCloud. Within hours, I had access to conversations, locations, and selfies she assumed were private. The picture that emerged was messy and unmistakable. There was no Kelly from work. The other person was Jason, a trainer from the gym. Reading their exchanges made my stomach turn. "You make me feel alive. I wish I could stay with you tonight. Adam will never know." That last line hurt most, not because it was true about me, but because she had allowed herself to believe it. For 2 weeks, I kept the outward routine. Kisses in the morning, small talk at dinner, a normal life in public. Behind the scenes, I prepared what I thought of as the cleanest, sharpest course of action. This wasn't about spectacle. It was about exposing the truth calmly, with witnesses and documentation that would leave no space for denial. I invited a small circle. Emily's parents, her brother, a few mutual friends who had always known me as a steady, dependable partner, to what I labeled a modest dinner. I printed screenshots, timestamps, hotel receipts, the lot, organizing them into a folder I simply titled, "For Your Consideration." Emily dressed as if it were any ordinary family meal, smiling, unsuspecting. Halfway through dessert, I placed a folder on the table and said quietly that I needed to share something with everyone. The room went still. Page after page revealed itself. Text threads, dates, the hotel charges she had denied. Her color drained away as her parents sifted through the evidence. Her brother wouldn't meet her eye. When she finally turned to me and asked, "Adam, why are you doing this?" I kept my voice steady. "Because you told me not to be weird. I wanted everyone here to understand what you meant." Her mother covered her mouth. Her father sat with a slow, grieving shake of his head. Emily stammered that we could talk about it privately. I said no. This had ceased to be just our private matter the moment she lied in front of those who trusted her. Tears began, at first small and then increasing as the reality closed around her. There would be no rescue, no denials that would change the facts on the table. She said she'd pack her things. I told her I already had. They were in storage and the key was in the folder. Shock registered across her face. "You what?" she asked. I repeated calmly that I didn't do loud confrontations. I did practical resolutions. I thanked everyone for coming and left her at the table amid the debris of the life she had been maintaining. The next morning I filed for divorce. Quietly, without public scenes. My lawyer handled the paperwork. By the end of the month, She was out of house, removed from shared accounts and from my life. A few weeks later, Jason texted me a blunt 2-word message. She's crazy. I didn't answer. It wasn't any of my concern now. As months passed, a sense of relief settled in. Friends told me I seemed lighter, calmer, more focused. The home that once felt crowded by secrets grew quieter and clearer. Sometimes I replay that dinner in my head. How her laughter dissolved into stunned silence. How the people who mattered saw the truth laid bare. That, I told myself, was my revenge, not a scene of anger, but a composed revelation that let facts speak until there was nowhere left to hide. And through it all, I never raised my voice.